Hey everybody, welcome back to the Highland Fox. We're here for the final four. After that, we're just going to move right into the national champion. So we'll decide who the greatest of all time of F1 drivers is here today in this video.
Did you say national champion?
I did. Because it's a bracket, right? Like you decide national champions. So,
Yeah.
And then I realized that
Global
champion. World champion even.
Ooh. Yeah.
Drivers champion, right?
Yeah.
We'll go with it.
Okay. You said national. I was like, yeah, wait, no. No.
Well, I'm in the spirit of the NCAA tournament, right?
Yeah.
And they decide the national champion.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
we'll move on.
Yeah.
You gonna do your Slytherin joke?
No.
Oh, okay.
My.
Well, Google the Slytherin joke. It'll be funny. Okay, so for today, we have the final four of Lewis Hamilton versus Alan Prost. That's gonna be our first matchup.
Okay. Starting off nice.
We are. Again, I feel like we said it last time, right? Like any of these four that are left, you could almost argue is the greatest for their era or greatest, because that's what kind of worked out. That's almost different eras. All of them are different eras, which is really weird how that worked out. But
It is, yeah.
yeah, because Lewis is modern. Schumi is the 2000s. Allen's the 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And then Fangio's the original.
Yeah.
So it's like, it kind of makes sense when you say, like, who's the greatest of all time. Because, I mean, you could switch Prost and Senna, but the bracket didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
And then that'd be a whole nother argument, who's better of those two. Which, luckily, we avoided.
Yes.
But, we're off topic.
All right.
Lewis Hamilton versus Alan Prost.
Who are you going with?
Hamilton. It was very difficult. I'm really trying to be objective and take out, like, the world titles and just look at the drivers themselves. But it's really hard when Hamilton has, like, the wins and the season, the seasons in a row and, the world titles and...
Yeah, the dominance and podiums and...
Right. And you can say, I know that comments are going to say it, right? Like, oh, Lewis had a rocket ship car. Schumacher had a rocket ship car. Fangio was the only one that had a car, right? He stole people's car, right? So it's like, you could always make those arguments about the car, but you don't win 4 or more just on the car.
Yeah. There has to be talent there.
Right. If you gave me a Mercedes, I'm winning 0 world titles. So.
Well, yes, but like if you gave, I don't know,
If you gave
Latifi,
Stroll, Gasly's pretty good though. Ocon, I don't know. If you gave most of the grid that Mercedes, or we're filming this in 2023, the current Red Bull, people still aren't winning the world title with those cars. You still need to be a good driver.
Yeah,
so taking the car out of it, I think Hamilton. If I had to start my team around Hamilton or Prost, I would pick Hamilton.
Okay. All right.
What about you?
No, I agree. I think just Hamilton is such a good driver and he knows his stuff and he's obviously seasoned and experienced now. So like just watching him now, you're like, oh, he got it. But I think ultimately, Hamilton wins that round.
All right, so Hamilton punches his ticket to the World Championship game, I guess we're calling it now?
Yes.
World Championship game? I'm not going to have any cool graphic there. Just thought it'd be fun. So, we're on to the next matchup, which I dare say is the best matchup of anything in this bracket and also really highlights the importance of the 1 seed because Hamilton had to go through some tough competition. But Schumi went through Häkkinen, Raikkonen, Senna, and now Fangio. Does his dream run continue, or does Fangio upset him?
This one was so difficult. I think this was the hardest one because
it's impossible.
If things would have been switched around, I might have had these two as my top 2.
That's kind of where I'm at. I think Fangio and Schumacher is probably your top. But again, it's hard to knock out Hamilton.
Yeah.
So it's like, those 3.
Yeah.
If you comment in the chat below and you're like, no, one of those 3 is the best because of this, I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I like Schumi and Fangio, I just look at and they're very similar to me.
Yeah.
The similar driving. And so this one is so tough.
And what makes this one even tougher is you're not comparing, like, you know, you look at like other guys, like when you did like Prost and Senna or whatever, they were in the same, similar machinery. Even Schumacher and Hamilton are like not the same machinery, but it's close
but they're
enough,
getting there,
right? Like that's pretty
Fangio
close.
Was
no, he was like literally had a fire on his leg because his muffler was touching him, and he's like losing skin. He's like, I got it, and he's just like holding the shift knob, like, and then
this helmet, yeah, I guess I'll put it on,
right, like a little leather bucket on his head, and you know, like Schumi got in a crazy crash, broke his leg, and was fine. Hamilton's like flipped and got cars landed on him and is totally fine. Yeah. So it's like
it's
just two totally different eras. But it comes down to it.
But
it's the original title, the original greatest, Fangio, the one that started the sport basically. 5 titles, held the record until Schumi. Schumi takes it. Lewis ties him. Where are we at? Fangio versus Schumi.
I am going to pick Michael Schumacher.
Okay. I would agree. I'm not comfortable with the pick.
Yeah.
But it's I don't feel better about myself.
No.
But it's
I don't know who is the better driver, but I think just using the statistics we have, I'm going to pick Michael.
Yeah.
Cuz it's so difficult to compare these two drivers just based on technology.
Right. You throw Michael in Fangio's car, does he win any titles? Or you throw Fangio in Michael's car, is it too complicated?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like I don't know.
But I think just on the statistics we have and just like the old footage of Fangio and like just I guess comparing the two, I'm going to choose Michael.
I would agree. I think Fangio is the bedrock. This is not undermining Fangio at all. I just think Michael has the seasons under his belt, which Fangio couldn't have been afforded, but just the sheer dominance of it. Michael is the only driver in F1 to ever win 5 titles in a row.
Yeah.
Now, granted,
thanks, Nico.
Yeah, thanks, Nico. Just ruined that. But it's just I don't know. Like Michael just kind of changed it, and you could argue like all these guys up here, even Prost, have won in different cars, right? So Michael won in Benetton and Ferrari and Lewis and McLaren, and then any car you put Fangio in, he won it, whether it was Alfa or Ferrari or Mercedes or it didn't matter, right? So it's like you can't even say it's the car anymore based on these guys. But again, if I'm starting my team today, I'm putting Michael in that car. Yeah. He was driven. There was nothing else that was going to stop him.
Yep. So yeah. I agree. That was such a tough one.
Yeah. That was the toughest one on this entire bracket.
I agree.
And now it gets tougher.
1 versus 2.
1 versus 2.
So like a true bracket should be, right?
Right. If a bracket's seeded correctly, it should be 1 versus 2.
All right.
Which never happens in the NCAA tournament. But
I think if you talk to most people, I think it would come down to these 2 drivers.
Yeah. I think if you ask any Formula 1 driver, you're going to come down to these 2.
Yeah.
And it's the Michael Jordan argument, right? They have the most titles. They have the most accolades. They have the most wins. They have the most poles. They have everything. They've won everywhere they went.
Yeah.
Lewis versus Michael. Let's set the internet on fire because whoever we pick, F1 world is going to be upset. There is no right answer here. Again, we are highlighting this is our opinion.
Yeah, this is our opinion based on like obvious, like just like the statistics we found online, just watching races, and then
you could say Phil Hill's the greatest, and that's fine. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Or Graham Hill, he won the Triple Crown. But we're down to Lewis and Michael.
Do you want to go or do you
I'll start the internet storm, I guess. Again, I think this is the Michael Fangio argument again. I think you can pick either driver and sway him one way or the other. But I think at the end of the day, with Lewis's career not over yet, I think you got to pick Michael.
Okay.
Because I think Michael took an iconic brand of Ferrari, who hadn't won in almost 2 decades, got in there, changed things his way with the help of other guys like Braun and all them, and then built Ferrari back. And anytime you build a legendary brand back, I mean, everyone in our generation knows of Ferrari because of Schumacher.
Yeah.
And Ferrari is the most legendary brand in F1. They are F1.
Yeah.
Right? So if you can create that, and then you look at what Lewis did with Mercedes, that was Michael laying the groundwork with Niki Lauda, I mean, not too bad of names, to start Mercedes with Brawn. Mm-hmm. So it's like Michael was the giant that Lewis stood on.
Yeah.
And you could argue that same thing with Fangio, but Lewis is great in his own right? I think you put Lewis in one of Michael's cars, you put Michael in one of Lewis's cars.
And Lewis isn't done yet, so...
Correct.
Like, who...
If he wins 8 or 9, this could change the whole argument,
yeah.
right? Especially if he rebuilds Mercedes.
Mm-hmm. Especially after the start of the season.
Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, gun to my head, I would put Michael in my car first. Mm-hmm. I think, no ill will towards Lewis, but Lewis has other interests, right? He owns the part of the Denver Broncos. He owns part of all these other things. Mm-hmm. Michael was an F1 driver. He didn't want anything else.
Yeah. And like, I think Michael's era did a good job of blending the high technology car and driver, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think you had to be able to drive the car, but then you also had to drive. And I think Michael blended those two seamlessly and beautifully, and he won in different teams, and he just...
Different cars even. There was the stick shift where you had a shift knob, then you went to the paddle shifters like Lewis has.
Yeah.
But there's one moment that sticks out to me of why I picked Michael. I want to know if you can guess it.
Oh, I didn't know you were going to put me on the spot.
I did it on purpose. I wanted your genuine reaction. There's one moment of why I think Michael Schumacher is the greatest of all time.
Oh my gosh, I forget the race name.
Okay.
But it was the 4-stop.
Right.
Yep.
Michael Schumacher, I think it was Hungary 2000... Oh, I don't remember what year it was. 2? I think it was Hungary 2002. Don't quote us on there. Please correct us down below because I want to know. But he went on a 4-stop strategy because they refueled in that time. And in order to do it, Ross Brawn came over the radio and told him, Michael, you have 25 seconds to make up in 19 laps. We need 19 qualifying laps from you. And Michael said, okay. And then did it and beat Alonso by 5 seconds. Mm-hmm. Just putting in 19 fastest laps in a row that each one was faster is just mind-bending how you could have that kind of control over the car.
Yeah.
So that moment to me is what kind of, I was teeter-tottering, and then I remembered that. Yeah. And I mean, Lewis has had some baller drives.
If you guys haven't seen that, look it up on YouTube. Yeah. It's insane. And like the radio call, just Michael saying, okay, and then doing it. Just not...
it gives me chills.
Yeah, chills. Seriously, chills.
Little chills.
But he just raised it to an art form.
Right. It was crazy. I mean, you can look at like Lewis's from the back of the grid in Brazil last year, but that had a sprint race, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff with that one, and the whole Max drama. But it's like Michael just was like, okay, 19 fastest laps, I got it, and then just did it. So,
I agree. So
please let us know what you guys think. Right? Like again, this is our opinion. I think any of our top 8. You could have an argument of... Absolutely. Yeah.
And, like, it was fun learning about all these other drivers and just, like, learning more about the history of F1. So, if anyone wants to discuss, we would love that.
Yeah. All right. Well, so there you have it. Michael Schumacher is our world champion as he's the greatest F1 driver of all time. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.